cooking outside. Why are we cooking it outside? Well, I will tell you why. I got it from here. I will tell you why. We're cooking it outside because we're making fish. And I have to tell you, I have this very beautiful outdoor kitchen that I can cook in. I'm so excited to have it, even though in about 5 days, hey Doug Eicher, even though in about 5 days they're actually going to be demoing this patio because it was installed incorrectly, so we have to demo it and kind of start again. But the great news is that cooking outside when it comes to fish is a blessing. I'm reminded of those old television commercials where I think that they were promoting Glade air freshener, and doorbell rings and the wife goes to the front door and she yells to her husband, "Your parents are here," and she opens the front door and the mother-in-law looks at her daughter-in-law and says, "Fried fish last night, dear?" And it was, meant to be an insult. And so then they say, if you don't want your mother-in-law to say that, then buy Glade air freshener. Well, I have to tell you, every time I cook fish in the house, I walk outside the next morning and walk back in and go, "Oh, fried fish, dear?" So I'm really thrilled to be outside. I have a fabulous dish to help you enjoy. And we are making Puttanesca sauce to go with this halibut. What I think is fantastic is that this is my first journey through making Puttanesca. There are so many wonderful jarred Puttanesca sauces that you can buy. But I realized after watching a video how really easy Puttanesca sauce is. And of all the complicated things that we have made together, Puttanesca just is not that complicated. I think just in our head we think it is. So what we are going to do is we're going to start first with the halibut. This is fresh halibut. And I think that when you cook fish, the best way to cook it is actually to cook it in a non-stick pan. So this non-stick pan that you see right here is, I have to use it because this burner that I use is an induction burner, and only cast iron or induction pans work on this burner. So it's a lot bigger than I would normally use. My sauté pans are a little less bold and big as this is, but we make do, and I have 5 pieces of halibut. So I think, oh, Mr. President is watching me. That's what I call my grandson, Mr. President. Isn't that cute? Thank you, Harmony. Hey, Mr. President, it's Nanny Bubby here. See, I'm really a Nanny Bubby to a couple of people. Liv and Dollface and Mr. President, as I call them. Hi, it's Nanny Bubby. Okay, back to you guys. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to salt the halibut. And I'm using, of course, a kosher salt. So here we go. We're going to salt the halibut, and we are going to put it meat side down first, and we are going to leave the skin side up. Because what we really want to do is make the top side, the skin side, nice and brown. And why do we do that? We do it because first we eat with our nose, then we eat with our eyes. And the most amazing thing is that when this is golden brown on the outside, when we get ready to serve it, it makes a beautiful dish. So here we go. I'm going to turn this up to about a medium-high heat, and I'm going to take the fish. I just want to make sure that you can see this. Do you guys see this okay? Just turning a little bit here. Let me move this. Not used to working out here in this environment. So I realized that I forgot a lemon and some basil. And I was afraid of that because it's not as easy to turn to my refrigerator and grab lemon and basil for out here. So I'm going to ask Megan if maybe she can run inside. Megan, come say hello to everybody. Can I introduce you to everybody? Okay, let me introduce Megan. Come on over here. So everybody, give a wave, say hello. Hey, Mom. Say hello to Megan Wood. Megan attends the Las Vegas Arts Academy High School, and she has come to me as an intern, and I'm so happy to have her. She's already been so helpful, so it's just great. So I'm just going to ask you if you would please, in one of the drawers you're going to see lemons, and you're going to see basil already in a plastic container with paper towel in it. So So if you could grab those for me, I appreciate it. Okay. So let's see who else is here. Arlene Blood is here, so thank you very much. So we're making Halibut Puttanesca, and because we eat first with our nose and then our eyes and then our mouth, we want to make sure that this halibut has a really nice golden brown on it. So we're not going to touch it, we're just going to let it saute up and get really nice and golden brown. We'll give it a flip. We won't worry too much about what the skin side looks like, because no one's going to see that skin side. It's going to be sitting in a beautiful bowl or platter lined with the puttanesca sauce first. And we are going to, while we're waiting, we're going to start with cutting our onions. So let me just turn you around here real quickly. And we are going to take these onions. Now I've cut them. Onions are great. You can dice them. Let's see, did you find it? No, it's in a plastic egg clamshell, but those lemons are correct. Okay. And then in the drawer right behind where I always stand is a microplane for grating the zest, so if you can find that. Okay, so she might find it, she might not, we'll see. So onions are already sliced and easy to turn into diced onions. They just have that about them already. So if what you do is you slice them in half, then you slice them across, such as I did here. You can see I'll stick the onion in. You can see it's sliced all the way in, all the way to the core right here, if you can see that, all the way. And then it's already, it already has these sections in it itself, and then you just slice it. Well, that's not right. Here. Here's the last cut. Then you do this. There we go. And then it's got its own sections in it, and then you slice, and you have very finely diced onions without having to chop. You just cut and slice. So that's a little handy-dandy trick that I actually saw on the Food Network by, oh God, last name Ray. What is her first name? Somebody tell me what her first name is. By somebody Ray. What is her first name? She gains weight, loses weight, gains weight, and loses weight. I've noticed. I'm supposed to notice that. Hey, Debbie Laughing, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. So one more time on the onions, while this fish is cooking, is they already have, you weren't able to find it? Okay. That one. Yep. Thank you. All right. There we go. So we're going to, this has already been cut. You can see it's already been cut across. Hey, Heather. Hey, Mom. Already been cut across like that. See there? Now we're just going to cut into it like this, leaving the core in place. There we go. And then you cut down like this. And then you have already diced tomatoes without having to actually dice it. Now I want these to be very, very small, because we're going to match our garlic to the onion. And the reason we do that is because the onion gets in there and we don't want it to burn. That's the last thing in the world that we want to have happen, is for garlic to burn, because nobody likes to eat burned garlic. So there we go. Okay, onion goes right into here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 cloves of garlic. And for as much as I am against having garlic be sliced and having big slices put in, what I'm really going to do is take this garlic and dice it to the same size as the onion, because it's going to have a really nice cook, and no one is really going to have that opportunity to put a big clove of garlic in their mouth, which nobody wants that. So let's get ready to turn this. I think right now it is very nice and probably brown. So let's take a look. Not quite. Let's see the one in the middle. Well, I think honestly we could let that go just a little bit longer. Then we turn it back. We really want a nice brown golden sear on these. There we go. Let's just give it just a little bit more time. Get nice and golden. Of course, we don't want these to be too close. but because if they are, they will steam rather than sauté brown. So just separating them. That's another reason why I love using the really big pan, is it gives me lots of space to work in. Okay, so I did 1 clove of garlic. Hey Frank, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. We're making pan sauteed halibut, which by the way I got at Costco yesterday when I bought the beef tenderloin that we made for Mother's Day, which is nicely in the freezer out here, getting nice and marinated for Mother's Day, just so you know. And I think I'm going back today to get another one because party size just doubled unexpectedly, but it did. So I'm just going to go grab another one and marinate it with the same things that I did yesterday when all of you were watching. Okay, so we're slicing. My husband just has a fit when I slice garlic. And when I see the way other people do it, I just feel like I'm not so bad. But I guess I do not hold my hands correctly. And I just am not comfortable doing it the way all these great chefs do it. I just haven't been able to bring myself to learn that technique yet. I guess I really need instruction and practice. But I'm not willing to practice without the instruction first. So, okay, let's turn that fish. I think that's enough. We don't want it to cook too much. Okay, so let's turn this one more time. So I can smell the fish, and really, from the outside point of view, it really smells heavenly. It truly does. There we go. That's a nice golden char on that. That one did not brown at all. So we'll just put this back in the middle. Give it just a couple of more minutes. So. Alright. So what we are going to do is we are going to, as soon as this is over, let's see, I just recently did a pan-seared salmon. And how did it turn out? And I do find that salmon you do not need to be outside to do. I rarely find that salmon leaves a smell. It's usually the white fishes that leave a smell, and that's what I'm particularly cautious about because it just drives me crazy to have that smell. So here we go. We're going to take these fish and we're going to put them, actually not back on this. Let me back that up a minute. We're going to put it on a shallow sheet pan. I have this in just to hold the parchment because out in the wind here it's likely to have burned off or blown off rather. And so I'm going to just take the fillet and just set them neatly onto the sheet pan. And I will have Megan take this inside. We are going to put this into 400 degrees. I believe it's 400 degrees. Let me check that. Yes, 400 degrees for about 6 minutes. We'll finish cooking it completely. There we go. And now we're going to make that puttanesca sauce. No, because I'm not going to cook this until, Megan just asked if I wanted her to put it in the oven. But I still have to feed my husband and my son. And if I put it in the oven, it'll be ready in 6 minutes, and nobody's ready for dinner at 3:30 in the afternoon. Although I've never heard them turn me down for food no matter what time of the day it is. So, okay, off we go. And we'll put this top on it. Excuse me for reaching out of the way here. Okay, and then on to the burner with this fabulous Le Creuset pan. So as I said, on this induction pan, I really need, there we go, I just need to get this shot, forgive me here. Why can't I get that shot? There we go. Is that it? Not quite. Okay, how's that? We'll get there. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're going to turn this back on. We're gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. It's about 1, 2, right there. And we're gonna let it heat up, and as it heats up, we're going to put in all of the onions and the garlic. So we're just gonna do just another good, tight chop on this garlic just to make sure it is diced as small. Turn you back around just to make sure that the garlic is diced as small as the onion so that it goes in with the onion as part of the onion. Here's one that could use a little chopping, right? Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and have these dreams that I cut my finger off in the middle of the show, and I'm like, oh my God, what would happen? I mean, I actually have these dreams. Like, wake up in the middle of the night at 2 in the morning with a dream that I cut off my finger in one of the shows, and I think, oh God, please don't ever let that happen to me. So I'm always very extra cautious. I could probably do better than I do. Hey Lucy, hey Peter Guzman, so nice to see you guys. Okay, so you can always tell your oil is hot and ready for you to go because it gets very shiny. So we are going to take this onion and garlic. So this recipe is for 4. So it's a small onion into this recipe. And we're going to give this a stir. And let it start cooking. You can smell that. It smells so good. Hey, Kathleen Bowman. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. We love it when new people pop on in, and it's great to see you. So I'm going to stir this up, if you can see that. Let it start cooking. And while that is doing that, we are going to smash our anchovy and make it into a paste. So right here, I have about 6 anchovies. Normally you could do this on a breadboard, but I am going to do it on a plastic cutting board because I'm just worried that this fish smell and this fish taste would stay in my breadboard. And you know, next thing I chop on here, like strawberries, would taste like anchovies, which has happened in the past. So this is about 6 large or a few more small. And we are going to turn this into a paste. I need to turn this down, add a little more oil because it's starting to burn. There we go. Give this a stir. Does that happen to you? You get all, let's see, why do you put the garlic in the same as an onion? So the truth is that because I never do, usually you put garlic in the last 1 minute of cooking an onion because you never want garlic to burn, because nobody wants a taste of burnt garlic. But because you want it to become a part of the garlic onion, and as it cooks in the puttanesca sauce, these are all so small in their chopping that they literally liquefy into the sauce. So you really want the garlic. That's why I'm very careful to keep stirring it as I'm working on these anchovies and turning this down, because I don't want that garlic to burn. It's on a lower heat rather than a higher heat, and I think that's safer, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. Okay, so the technique for doing this anchovies and turning it into a paste is basically just going through it like that. Can you see that? And you're like, where is that paste? How could the paste be there? And you take a look at the back, and there it is, all schmoosed up and very much a paste. So if you don't want to buy your anchovy paste, which I prefer to always chop and make everything on my own, so you just turn that blade and really just give it a... I thought this was a really interesting technique when I saw it, and it works. So you can see that, right? Yes, you can. So there we go. Okay. You can see why I didn't want to do this on my regular board. So this is definitely into a paste. Just let's get the rest of them. I'm going to even suggest that we need to put a little bit of olive oil on top of this, because being outside, these dried a little bit. So I'm going to just sprinkle them slightly with a little bit of olive oil and just give them one last paste making with the knife, because these got quite dry, surprisingly. I think if we were inside, we would not have had that problem. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go through it one more time. Let's just give it a little bit of olive oil. There we go. And we're just going to take our knife and just work it through one more time. There we go. Isn't this just the most interesting technique, right? Go. Watch those fingers. No nightmares come true at 3 in the afternoon when it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. There we go. Okay. All right. That's it. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to pop into the bowl here. Got a little bit of caramelized, but I don't think that it's burning. I'm just going to add just a, really you can smell the garlic, which just smells absolutely heavenly. There we go. A little bit more olive oil, just to pick up the caramelization. Okay, and now into the bowl with the anchovy paste. There we go. With the capers. About 2 tablespoons of capers and a half of a cup of Kalamata olives, already pre-sliced. I don't feel an affinity towards slicing my own Kalamata olives, so I bought them already seeded and sliced. Don't need to go that far, right? And we're going to just swirl these around, let all the flavors meld in, let the anchovy, turn this up now, let the anchovy dissolve into this really nicely. So how many of you, hey Eva Calix, so nice to have you here. Kara Goodman is here. Well, hey Kara Goodman, how are you? So nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. We're here every day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, cooking together. All of our gatherers are here. It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. We're making halibut puttanesca, grilled halibut puttanesca, pan sauté basically. So if you look down in here, Frank said, I'm getting my YouTube channel up and running soon. Maybe we can do a video together sometime. Okay, that would be fun. Okay, so here we go. We have the anchovy paste has dissolved. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the tomatoes. So these are San Marzano tomatoes. Now, San Marzano tomatoes, the real San Marzano tomatoes, are actually grown in a little town just south of Naples. Anywhere else that you grow San Marzano tomatoes, they are not the real San Marzano tomatoes, because it's the climate in Italy that in the San Marzano area that makes the taste of San Marzano tomatoes so fantastic. And trust me when I tell you, I can attest to that, because in my garden, which maybe after we've cooked I'll take you there and show it to you, I planted San Marzano seeds. And I was so excited because I love the San Marzano tomatoes. And when we went out and picked them for the very first time and I tasted them, bleh, they were terrible. And I believe that they're picking up the dryness that they are really used to, a very arid climate in Italy. And my gardener, my farmer actually that helps me with the garden now, has told me that first season tomatoes are not as delicious as second or third or fourth, or if you can keep those bushes going. So it stands to be seen whether or not my San Marzanos will be something I want to cook with, or if I may have to just pull out the bush and plant something else there. So pouring in right now 2 cups of San Marzano tomatoes, praying that my second season of my San Marzanos end up fabulous. And then we're going to put in 1/4 of a teaspoon of chili flakes, or actually maybe even 1/8 of a teaspoon. I think that might be too much if it's more. There we go. All in, giving it that spice. Of course, if you like a lot of spice, more. And if not, then less. Okay, so let me show you how beautiful this is looking up. This is just gorgeous. There we go. Look at that sauce. And we're going to let it come to a simmer. I'll turn it up 1. And now here is a trick. This is my favorite trick. This recipe calls for 1/4 of a cup of white wine. And I doubled this recipe, so I'm going to use a half a cup. Now let me tell you, it's a Wednesday night, and we're not drinking wine on a Wednesday night. So I don't want to open a bottle of good white wine because I don't want to put anything in here that isn't good, right? If you wouldn't drink it, you shouldn't cook with it either. And the trick is that in replace of white wine, you can use dry vermouth. So this is a bottle of dry vermouth right out of my liquor cabinet. I am going to use it instead of white wine. And quite frankly, I actually like dry vermouth better than white wine in a recipe because it's just got that really, really great flavor. So we are going to do a half cup of dry vermouth. There we go. And I'm running low because I use it frequently instead of white wine. So put that on the grocery list, right? And into the pot with the white wine. You can see it's starting to evaporate and get thicker. Just add that, let it saute. Looks tasty, thank you. Thank you so much. It really is. I'm so excited, and you can smell it. You can smell the dry vermouth. You can smell in the Puttanesca all of these capers, the olives, onions and garlic, and anchovy paste, which is very much dissolved. And into the pot with the rest of the vermouth, or white wine, whichever you may have, and we are going to let this saute, not saute, simmer. We're going to let it simmer until it just comes to thicken. Maybe it takes half of its volume and goes down just about a third to a half. And then we are going to take this. I will snap a picture tonight and I will post it. But we're going to take this, we're going to put it on the bottom of the platter. Or if I plate it, I may plate it and put one piece of halibut on each plate. But first you put this down at the bottom. And just to visualize this, we're going to take a plate, put the Puttanesca at the bottom of the plate, take the halibut fillet, put it on the very top, and then we are going to take chiffonade basil, which is why I wanted to say that, get it for you. And we're going to put the chiffonade basil right on the top of the center of the halibut. And then we are going to take our lemon and zest right on top of the basil and then off to the side on each side. And it just makes the most beautiful presentation. And first we eat with our eyes, so we always want to put it down on a plate, which looks absolutely gorgeous. So I can't wait to show you that today. We're going to give this a stir and allow it to keep simmering and evaporating. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have questions today? So happy that all of you are meeting us and joining us, meeting up with us at 3 o'clock every day when it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. And we are going to post the recipe. Have you all noticed that we're posting the ingredients on every day's segment for you to see in case you want to make it afterwards? And of course the directions are in the video. You've already watched the video if you're here, but for others they need to watch the video to see how to make it. Not really by design, but by happenstance, we realized that we didn't need to type up the directions because the video actually is the directions. So that's good. So this is starting to get thicker. We're losing a lot of the water that was in it. And that's it for today. So I hope you all enjoyed this segment today. I enjoyed doing it. I can't wait to taste this. So can you see that there's still a little bit of water just at the top? And we're going to let that evaporate out. And we're going to have this rich, thick, wonderful Puttanesca sauce. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And so easy to make. If I can make it in 20 minutes here on television or whatever you call it, I call it television because it's what I'm used to, then you certainly can make it yourself at home. So do enjoy, and remember, hey Randy Christensen, nice to see you. How are you, my friend? Thanks for joining us. So thank you so much for being here. On the count of 3, let's say it all together. 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. Bye everybody.